All right, as we previously told you, new data suggests that in the final days leading up to the midterms, Democrats are losing key support from voting groups that helped send President Obama to the White House just 2 years ago. But perhaps the most significant of these groups is women. Now, according to the latest New York Times CBS poll, a majority of women are switching over to the GOP. Now, if more women vote for Republicans this year, it would be the first time they have done so in a midterm election in nearly 3 decades. So why the mass exodus? Could it be because Democrats are demonizing female candidates all across the country? Sharon Angle in Nevada, Meg Whitman in California have been among the top targets of late, as well as our next guest, Republican Delaware Senate candidate Christine O'Donnell, who joins me now. By the way, we've also offered her Democratic challenger, Chris Coons, an opportunity to appear on the show. Shock, he's not responded to our interview request. Christine, welcome back. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Sean. And you know what? It's funny because after a series of a couple debates, my opponent canceled the last two that we had scheduled at Dell State University and a local TV station. So don't take it personally. He's gone in hiding these last couple of days.
Well, let me stay on this issue. We know what Jerry Brown's campaign, we'll call it on that answering machine, saying about Meg Whitman. We heard Joy Behar on The View talking about Sharon Angle. She didn't say it one day, but 2 days. Today, I guess she shifted her position and says, oh, no, that's a term of endearment. I shouldn't have even used it in referring to Sharon Angle. You know, I don't even know what to do with this. I read something about you today, and it's so horrible, and, you know, it is in keeping with what we see going on around the country about conservative women. And I don't know if you want an opportunity to respond or if you want to move on, or what is your feel? Why is this happening to conservative women?
Well, I have an answer to that, but I'm not sure what you saw today. We've had numerous events, at least 6 events today. So I've been meeting the voters, not really watching what the liberal media is saying. But you know what's happening is that right now, the Democrats can't run on the record. We spent nearly $1 trillion in stimulus bills, and we're promised economic recovery, but instead we lost 2.5 million jobs. Our country's going broke. What they're doing is taking us in the wrong agenda. We are right on the issues. What the government can do right now is lower taxes, cut spending, and whether it's been, you know, cutting taxes with President Kennedy or whether it's President Reagan, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. When you enact fiscal policy that's based on cutting taxes, cutting government spending, the economy recovers. And this administration instead is playing the blame game, like they inherited this mess and, oh, golly gee, there's nothing they can do. And that's why they're attacking candidates like me who are doing well in the polls, who are challenging that blame game, challenging the political establishment that caters to special interest groups. I want to go to Washington and do what is important for the people of Delaware. Fight for jobs based on private businesses to come back. We're facing the largest tax increase in U.S. history this January. My opponent has had no less than 4 different positions on how he's going to vote. But the everyday Delawareans, the common sense men and women in America, know that raising taxes on anybody, let alone the top 2% who are the small business owners, who are the job creators, that's not what we need to do to get our economy back on track. So instead, they're trying to make it personal. They're trying to make it about me because they can't attack my positions.
You know, it's interesting because I watched one of the debates that you were in, and it was like an obsession to try and paint you as an extremist. Do you believe in evolution? Do you believe in creationism? And, you know, I'm listening to what you're campaigning on here, and it seems that message a little bit has gotten lost in the campaign because they want answers to questions. Do you think that has to do with your Christian faith and your outspoken Christian faith?
Right. Well, you know what it is. Yes, I have a personal faith, and that's what gives me strength to endure the hard campaign trail. However, when I go to Washington, it's the Constitution that I will defend. And my opponent, again, can't stand on his record, so he's trying to mischaracterize who I am and almost make voters afraid to vote for me because they know that if they look at the issues, he's broken his promise, his campaign pledges not to raise taxes, and raised them over 54%. He said that he's going to be a rubber stamp for the Obama-Reid agenda. He's going to vote for cap and trade, even though, see, this is the most appalling. his family business. He personally can make millions of dollars if cap and trade is passed. Now, cap and trade will cause our utility bills to go up no less than $1,200 per household. We'll lose 6,000 more jobs in Delaware. The only one who stands to gain if cap and trade is passed is my opponent, and he has yet to say that if he wins, he'll recuse himself. He doesn't want the voters to be paying attention to this. He doesn't want the voters to look at his positions, so he's trying to create these scare tactics. But fortunately, Delaware is a state that's small enough that I can go up and down the state and give the voters an opportunity to get to know me, hear my message firsthand, and that's why we're gaining in the polls.
Have you been able to bridge the gap with the NRSC and the establishment? That there was obviously a conflict after you defeated Mike Castle in the primary. Has there been any peace between the two of you, or is it status quo? Are they helping you?
Well, Chairman Steele was just here. We're doing this show from a rally where Chairman Steele came into Delaware, came to Kent County, and showed his support and was motivating everybody to go out to turn out the vote on Tuesday. And at this rally, we had well over a dozen Democrats, or at least people who told me they were Democrats, voting for me because they're frustrated with what's going on in Washington, and they don't want someone who has a history of raising taxes and wasting our tax dollars. So we're gaining a lot of momentum and a lot of support because of the people on the ground, because of the grassroots folks who are outside of the political establishment. So in these last days, I do hope that the NRSC might run ads, help us do voter education and outreach, because the polls that came out today, what I've been told, we're anywhere from neck and neck to double digits behind. And the reason for that, I think, is because there's a momentum and an excitement happening here in Delaware that you can't quantify. There is definitely something special happening here in Delaware, and it's not reflected in the polls because many of the people who are behind my campaign are first-time voters. And I'm not talking about people who are just turning 18. I'm talking about people I've met who are 40, 50, even in their 60s, who tell me that they've grown frustrated with the process and never voted until now. And that's an honor to realize that my candidacy has given people hope to have their voice heard in Washington again.
Christine O'Donnell, good to see you again. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.